Huh? 969 years old? He lived that long? Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to Espresso with Sky, where you will get a fresh perspective on faith, life, God, and the Bible. My name is Pastor Sky. You're my sidekicks, Chewy and John Wick. Now, if you haven't done so, go ahead, hit all those crazy buttons, subscribe, like, whatever it is. But most importantly, leave a comment below. I really want to hear what you think about today's topic. Now, if you want to support this ministry, we have PayPal and buymeacoffee.com. Yes, you can buy me a cup of coffee. All right, guys, let's get into today's topic. Now, let's talk about biblical age. In the Old Testament time, it really feels mythical and quite legendary. We got forbidden fruits and talking animals. And on top of this, we have these people that are living to legendary ages. The eldest in the Bible is Methuselah, 969 years old. Now, did he really live that long? Is that really true? And that's what we're going to figure out in today's topic. Now, scientists today will say to you that if conditions are absolutely perfect, they have to be perfect, right? The maximum a human being is able to live is around 150 years. Then, of course, people of faith will come and say, well, they're just scientists and they don't know what they're talking about because they don't believe in God and God can do anything. And then there's silence. Now, a couple of things you need to understand is this. A lot of these scientists are Christians too, and they're just going by what they discover about the human body. So, what we want to do today is we want to figure out and understand, did these people actually live that long, or should we be looking into it a little bit deeper? Now, the first thing I want to talk about today is our general response to scientists and people saying that the Bible is wrong or something is impossible. Now, for some reason, when it comes to Christians and believers and people of faith, when we hear the words impossible or can't or the Bible is wrong, we get triggered.
Oh God, no, it's you. Now you are, oh my God! Oh my God!
So we start going off on how great God is and He's powerful, almighty, He can do this and this and this. Now the thing is, it's a true statement, but it doesn't mean that what we're talking about is true or false. Yes, God can do everything, but does He? This is the whole reason we study the Bible. We don't study the Bible to figure out what God can do. Why? Because He can do anything. He's almighty and all powerful. But when you read the Bible, we're looking at these instances like going, oh, what is God's will? What will God do? It's like when you go to court and someone accuses you of murder and they say, you know what? Sky can murder someone. And the answer is, it's true. Every person in the world has the capability and can kill someone else. However, when you go to court, they're not going to say, oh, yes, it's true. Sky can kill someone, so he must be the murderer. No, they have to prove through evidence and motive that I actually did it. Just the fact that I can do it doesn't mean I did. And in the same way too, responding to people and telling them, well, God can do anything is not really a real response. It's just a true statement. And from that true statement, you're saying that God did that because God can do anything? That doesn't make any sense. What we need to understand is we study the scriptures not to figure out what God can do. We study the scriptures to figure out what is God's will. What will God do? Yes, I have the capability of killing someone else. Everyone does. However, when people get to know me and who I am, and they read the book of my heart, they will know, even though I can kill someone, but I won't. I will not. And this is why kind of the reasoning of God can do anything is not a real reason. It's just a true statement and a true fact, but that's it. It doesn't prove anything. So when you guys go out and when you hear these things happening, it is not a good argument to say those things. So let me start off with that, which leads us into the second reason. Now, before we get into understanding the ages of people in the early Bible, there's something really important you have to understand when it comes to reading and understanding the Bible, and that is perspective. Perspective plays a massive role in understanding the Bible properly. So what we know today is different than what people knew 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, and even 5,000 years ago. So let me give you an example. In Genesis chapter 41, verse 57, it's the time of Joseph, and there's supposed to be a severe famine. Now what the scripture says is the famine was so severe, it was all over the world, and every country came to Joseph for food. Now, if this was true, every major civilization would have written about, oh, the famine was so severe and we all went to Joseph. And this is untrue. Now, why did Joseph write it this way? Because of perspective. Think about this. Does Joseph know that America exists? And the answer is absolutely not. Why? Because America was discovered in 1492 by Columbus. So we're like going, wait a second, that's like 500 years ago. And this story is like 4,000 years ago. Back then, what was the world? The world is what you call the known world, meaning it's as far as they've conquered, it's as far as they know. The world isn't as big as it is today. If we said today there was a famine in the entire world, it would include Europe and Australia and China and Brazil and Canada. It would include all these countries. Why? That is the world to us. But from the perspective of Joseph, the world is as much as he knows. It's as far as he's gone. And that's why he says there was a famine so severe that the whole world came to Egypt. So there's a first evidence or proof of perspective. Second one is in Joshua chapter 10, verses 12 through 14. Very cool, interesting story. Verse 14, it says, the sun stopped in the middle of the sky. Now, if we were to take this literally and without perspective, then the Bible is false. Why? Because all of us here today know that the sun doesn't move. The sun stands still and the earth moves around the sun. But when did we know this? We figured this out 400 years ago. But this story of Joshua is like 3,500 years ago, which means from their perspective, remember, he's not a scientist. What is he? In that story, he's a general of an army. And what does he see every day? Sun goes up, sun goes down. And what does he think to himself? Hey, the sun moves. But that is according to perspective. So the first thing that I want to make sure that everyone gets into their head is perspective plays a massive role when you're reading the Bible, and you do have to take it into consideration. So now that we know that perspective plays a massive role in reading the Bible and understanding it, and we have to take it into consideration, this is the big question that leads to the third and final point, which will make you think deeper about biblical ages. So here's the question. People living 5,000 to 6,000 years ago, what calendar did they use? Is it the same as today's calendar? Did they calculate age in the exact same way? And the answer is no way. Today's calendar is called the Gregorian calendar, and it's only 400 years old. So when we think about it, age and birthdays, the importance of it has changed over time. So let me give you an example. The first one is, let's take a look at the medieval period, okay? And that's like 500 to 1,000 years ago. Back then, most ordinary people didn't even know their birthday. And actually, they didn't care. Why? They were more concerned about just living the next year. It was that difficult. They're not complaining about, oh, I didn't get my birthday present. Oh, I feel so sad. I'm so lonely because you didn't give it to me. Oh, you don't love me. No, back then was, oh, I survived another harvest. They didn't even know their birthdays. You go even further in time to the ancient civilizations, and they tied their calendars to the cycle of rulers and kings. Which means what? Even at the same age, each of these civilizations were using different calendars. That's how different it was. So if you think 5,000 to 6,000 years ago, man, Genesis, we're not even sure what calendar they were actually using and what it actually meant that Methuselah lived 969 years. It could be years to us, but for them, their cycle and their calendar could be completely different. And this should make us think a lot more deeply about, wow, did these people really live that age or not? And the true answer I want to give to you is, does it matter? Does it really matter? Right? Does it really matter how old they were? Does that change how magnificent God is or not? And that's the thing that we really have to think about too at the end of all these things is, wow, 969, and, right? How important is it when it comes to our life of faith? And the answer is not much. Really, it's not much. But when it comes to explanations to people and helping them understand, we need to look at the perspective of the Bible and the people of that time. All right? So guys, I hope you guys really enjoyed today's topic. If you guys have any feedback, go ahead, write it below in the comments. Would love to hear it and have an honest conversation with you. All right, guys, that is it for today. This is Espresso with Sky, giving you a fresh perspective on faith, life, God, and the Bible. My name is Pastor Sky. There's Chewy and John Wick. If you want to support our ministry, we have PayPal and buymeacoffee.com. All right, guys, have a wonderful day, and we'll see you guys again next week. Bye-bye.